Good evening. The regular meeting of the City Commission for Tuesday, November 28th, 2023 will come to order. Please join me in silencing your cell phones. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Martin?
Here.
Commissioner McGurk?
Here.
Vice Mayor Perine? Here. Mayor Cleveland?
Here.
Thank you.
Would you please rise so that we can do the Pledge of Allegiance and the prayer? Police Department Chaplain Sheila Turner will lead us in the invocation.
Let us bow our heads and hearts unto the Lord. We thank you, Father, for allowing us to assemble here one more time for this year. And we thank you for allowing us to make the right decisions for our great city of New Smyrna Beach, Florida. And we thank you, Father, for allowing us to have cool weather, but not too long, sir. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I'd like to invite Bev Johnson, Northeast Central Florida Easter Seal President and CEO, to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Welcome to your city's business meeting. We're delighted you're here. This is Tuesday, the National Day of Giving, which is the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving. It is to recognize and prioritize giving over consumerism to help those less fortunate by fundraising for a special cause close to your heart or volunteering in your community. Also, I would be remiss if we didn't pause for a moment and recognize the passing of First Lady Rosalynn Carter, great humanitarian, proponent of affordable housing, tireless worker for the Habitat for Humanity, supporter of mental health treatment, and women's rights leader. Mr. City Manager, your report, sir.
Asking about the agenda, if there's changes to the agenda?
Yes, do you have one?
Yes, I do. 3 changes. I'm removing 3 items out of the consent agenda. The first one is 7G as in George, and that is consider the approval of lien amnesty requests for the street assessments on the property located at 2554 Glenwood Avenue. I'm removing item 7H as in Henry. Consider the approval of lien amnesty requests for the street assessment on the property located at 2567 Nordman Street. The third item that we're removing is item 7N as in Nancy. Consider approval of purchase of new loader/backhoe and trade of equipment.
All right, sir, thank you so much. So we're going to pull item 7, Gulf, Hotel, and November. Perfect. Very good. All other agenda items remain the same. We'll move on then to announcements and recognition presentations. This is the recognition for Sergeant James Sharkey for his planning and implementation of a multi-jurisdictional active shooter response event. You're in for a treat. I'd like at this time Chief Feldman and Sergeant Sharkey to join us at the podium, please.
You'll take it, right?
Okay, so today is about recognizing one of our own. So we're here to recognize Sergeant James Sharkey. He's going to be receiving a letter of commendation from the police department, as well as a plaque from the City Commission and the City Manager. So I'm going to start by reading the commendation as it speaks for itself. Glasses. As a result of recent events and a new mandate from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, police chiefs from Volusia County put together a working group to produce a countywide shared policy to ensure that police and fire agencies were on the same page when responding to mass casualty events. During this process, Chief Feldman was asked to take lead in organizing a county-wide training exercise so that the police and fire chiefs, in coordination with the Sheriff's Department and Volusia County Emergency Management, could identify any deficiencies when it comes to communication and resource deployment when operating in a unified command posture. Due to his unique experience as a retired SWAT commander and police lieutenant, and now a New Smyrna Beach Police Department sergeant, James Sharkey was assigned the task of lead planner for this exercise. Over the next 5 months, Sergeant Sharkey coordinated with every police and fire agency in the county, as well as EMS, to plan and execute a large-scale, realistic exercise at the Daytona Speedway. Ultimately, Sergeant Sharkey assembled a training cadre of approximately 100 participants from all agencies, and with their assistance, executed the largest active shooter training scenario ever conducted in this county. On the day of training, approximately 400 personnel, ranging from officers to command staff from every first responder agency in the county, came together to participate in this exercise. Thanks to Sergeant Sharkey's efforts, agency heads were able to determine appropriate next steps to continue to improve communication and coordination between all police and fire agencies, the Sheriff's Department, dispatch, EMS, and County Emergency Management. Sergeant Sharkey's experience and professionalism are an asset to the police department and to the city of New Smyrna Beach. Sergeant Sharkey, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Jim, I have an award for you from the City Commission. The City Commission and the City Manager recognize Sergeant James Sharkey for his role in taking the lead in planning, organizing, and executing a large-scale Volusia County active shooter training exercise signed by the Commission, dated November 28th, 2023. Congratulations, Jim. We're so proud to have you here.
Congratulations. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to invite Bev Johnson from the Northeast Central Florida Easter Seals. She's the president and CEO, and Susan Moore, the vice president of philanthropy, to the podium to outline a presentation for us.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor, for inviting us to attend tonight, and thank you, Commission and staff, for allowing us a few minutes to tell you a little bit about our hopes and dreams in New Smyrna Beach. As Mayor Cleveland suggested, my name is Bev Johnson. I'm the president and CEO of Easter Seals Northeast Central Florida. We are a pediatric disability services organization that has been in this county for almost 75 years now, with our home base up on Dunn Avenue in Daytona Beach. In April, however, we purchased almost 16 acres off Pioneer Trail in what I consider to be New Smyrna Beach, although technically we're county, to be part of this community to better serve the southeast portion of the county, the center of the county. We have big hopes and dreams for this property, for our children, for the families that we serve, and for the young people that we'll work with. And what I thought might be best is we'll show a video that kind of wraps up what we want to do on this property, what our hopes and dreams are, and then we'll be available for any questions afterwards. Hey y'all, it's Bev Johnson from Easter Seals Northeast Central Florida. Guess what? We bought a farm. So we dream all the time at Easter Seals, and we've been dreaming about something like this for about 20 years. There's so much opportunity here in Volusia County, but our kids need even more. Why do we have to live in a big city for our kids to be offered every opportunity available to them? Why can't we do it right here in Volusia Flagler County? PT, OT, speech, farming, you name it. The sky's the limit. So the inspiration behind our name, Edgar's Farm, stems back over 100 years to almost 1920. Edgar Allen, who was a Rotarian at the time in Ohio, had a son that was tragically injured in an automobile accident. And at that point in time, there weren't a lot of options for kids that needed extensive help and services. So Edgar and his friends from Rotary founded the Crippled Children's Society.
which ultimately became Easter seals. In honor of Edgar Allan and all of the work he did to create the vision of ultimately Easter seals, we're very pleased and proud to announce the name of our farm, Edgar's Farm. We already have a world-class aquatic therapy program at our Dunn Avenue location. We're adding to that. With this wonderful pool, we get to expand that service, and we also get to add swim lessons, or actually really drowning prevention. So we're super excited to bring that to this community as well. Behind me, you see vast pastures. We see them too, and trust me, we'll keep some of those, but we plan on farming this land. We want our kids to have the opportunity to learn about growing vegetables, flowers, fruit, and we want them to actually take advantage of all that has to offer. Maybe they'll even create micro businesses. For years, there's been a trusted, high-quality equine therapy program on this property, and we're going to continue those services. In fact, here's some of our new staff right now. We've got 9 horses and, of course, a donkey. What would a farm be without animals? In order for the development of Edgar's Farm to become a reality, we need you. We need volunteers, we need donors, we need community partners. Come dream with us.
So in case you couldn't tell, I was pretty excited in the video. I'm still equally excited to be part of this community from our organizational so to really serve the families down in Southeast Volusia that often don't have the convenient services that others do a little further north. So I can take any questions certainly about Easter seals or the project itself if you'd like.
Bev, thanks for the opportunity here, and I'm sure Commission has some questions for you, but why don't you describe a little bit about the children that classically come and visit your facilities?
Sure, absolutely. So probably one of the main things that we're known for is our Autism Diagnostic Center. While we certainly treat children that do not have autism, the vast majority of the kids that we work with do. We start really at birth. We do all the newborn screens for hearing screens for kids that might fail that test in the hospital when they're first born. And then we go into early intervention work with the Early Steps program across 5 counties. That's developmentally delayed children. And then we have preschools. We have an Autism Diagnostic Center, which starts at about the age of 2. We diagnose all the way up to 18. We also provide physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and behavior therapy for the children within our Autism Center. We offer mental health counseling as well for not just our kids with autism, but also anybody in the community that could potentially need services. With the addition of the farm, we integrate the horse programs, so horsemanship, education through horsemanship, and equine services. We do also have drowning prevention classes, or lessons, if you will, up at our Dunn Avenue location, and we will start them in New Smyrna Beach. Unfortunately, if a child has a disability, they're 4 times more likely to drown than their typical counterparts. So we feel that's an incredibly important part of our mission. We also have workforce development and transition for youth that are graduating out of services within the county. And we're getting ready to sign a vocational rehab contract that will allow us to provide support for our kids as they enter into the workforce. So in a nutshell, that's what we do.
Fantastic. Questions or comments from the Commission? Commissioner McGurk.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I'm blown away that you guys are able to accomplish this, the 16 acres. I'm so happy that it's here in New Smyrna Beach, and I certainly will do whatever I can to help make this a successful venture. When do you anticipate this, this coming to fruition and operating how you would like to?
Great question. Well, first, thank you very much for your enthusiasm. We're beside ourselves as well. So we already have some services going. The program that we, or the property that we purchased was a for-profit riding academy that had a not-for-profit arm. The for-profit closed and the not-for-profit dissolved on, say, a Friday, and we started services, the same not-for-profit riding services on Monday. So we do have equine-assisted services going on now, and we have counseling services down there now. Last week, was it last week? Last week, Monday, we started planting the farm. So small steps are being taken now. We have kind of a 2-phase approach, if you will. The first phase, We are hoping to start right after the new year. You saw a residential home where the pool was in the video. That will be transitioned to a commercial property that's ADA accessible. So it's a residence right now. There's not a lot of work that needs to be done. Some walls need to be taken out, some ramps built, restrooms made larger, things like that. That will hopefully start at least the permitting process right after the new year. And we're hoping to have services down there in that facility by the summer.
Well, that's great. I know you're very busy, but I would love to tour the facility
I would love to
sometime
have you.
and
Wonderful.
see what you all are doing out
Great.
there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hartman.
So it's fantastic to see the enthusiasm that you have. So obviously, this is a dream that you guys have had for quite some time, and to have it come to fruition, you've got to be ecstatic about that. But what can we do to help you?
Great question.
Word of mouth, that sort of thing.
Yes, so there's a lot. First, I think
Within
just-
our budget, of course.
Well, most of it's probably free. So I think certainly word of mouth is very important. I envision this property as not just impactful for the children that we serve through our business operation. One of the things, and Susan speaks very eloquently about this, one of the things that challenges our families and our children every day is that they have to go out into the community and fit into a typical world. We envision this property to be a safe haven, a place where our children and our clients actually define what it looks like. We want the community to come to their world. We want the community to come to us. So when we have community days, we'd love people to come out and work with us and help garden. We'd love volunteers to come out and help our kids set up their micro businesses. We'd love, once we actually get set up, for our residents in this community to come out and purchase fruits and vegetables from our kids, show them that what they do is absolutely as worthwhile as what they have to travel into the typical community for. So support in and of itself, just from a love and will and manpower stance, is fantastic. As we continue to grow, we will keep you all abreast to what's going on the property. If there ever is any opportunity to volunteer, to donate, to give of your time or talent, we'd love to have it. But I think the biggest thing right now is just be an advocate for us. Let people in this part of the county know that services are coming, because I'm a resident here in New Smyrna Beach, and I know that we don't have quite as many services as we could possibly use, especially as we expand south here. So I think really just helping us get the word out right now would be fantastic.
Thank you.
Commissioner Martin.
I love that you are concentrating on children. It's just a word that I don't hear quite as much as I would like to.
Right.
And I hope you will be inviting us to, I don't know, shovel, break ground, whatever, and hope that you have our email addresses for anything that we can do. I'm always ready to lend a hand. And our city clerk would love to get invitations that she can then extend to all of us.
Absolutely.
So to help us use the city to cast a spotlight on you. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Vice Mayor.
Wow. You have a couple horse people up here, so we're blown away.
That's great.
I just had a question. When you have the children come out, do you partner with other schools like Upper
Trend?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tongue-tied tonight. And do they have like a classroom at a time, or do you do individual open to the public, or how do you stagger your schedule?
It really depends on what the needs are or the desires are from the group. So, so Amy and Lindsay, we haven't gotten the kids out yet from Upward Trend, but we've had some conversations about hopefully getting them out there. We do work right now with a group from SMA. A women's group comes out on Fridays, and that group comes out for about 2 hours with a counselor. And so it really depends on the group, but we can absolutely accommodate field trips, if you will, or group sessions, things like that.
Yeah. I can imagine they're really excited about that. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Just two follow-ups, Bev. Is it for fee? Do you charge for the kids to come out? Must you have money to come out, or can you come out if you don't have money? How's that work?
So it really varies on, or depends on what program the children are participating in. So we, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. We are funded by every funding stream possible. We have private donations, we bill insurance, we have self-pay. We have a lot of legislative funding, we have state grants, we have county grants. The blessing is that if one is up, probably one is down, or if one is down, one is up, I should say. The curse is that it's a lot to manage accounting-wise. It really depends on what's going on. If we're having groups to come out and help us farm and just work within the ground and things like that, I don't think there would be a charge for that. If we have kids coming out for group therapy, for example, we would charge their insurance or Medicaid or whatever group payment system there is. We are a not-for-profit, so we do operate generally on a sliding fee scale if somebody is underinsured or uninsured. So it really depends on what's going on, but we make it work.
Awesome, fantastic. And maybe you or your VP of Philanthropy will tell us how we can contact you. How do we find you?
I'll let Susan do that. So she's came all the way here with us. So.
Well, thank you. And it is Giving Tuesday. So our website is Easter Seals, NECFL for northeastcentralflorida.org, and we always have that big donate button up at the top. But we'll also invite Kelly to invite you to some of our upcoming fundraising events. The one that we're so excited about is our Boots and Pearls event on April 5th, and it's also right here in New Smyrna. And we started that about 3 years ago to really reach out to a greater audience of friends and people that we can steward right here in the New Smyrna Beach area. So we'll certainly invite you to that, and absolutely get you all out to the farm so we can take a tour and then show you some of the good client work that's done there.
Thank you both. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. What a great thing to do on this National Day of Giving.
Thank you.
Thank you a lot.
Have a good night.
You bet. Thank you, guys. Mr. City Manager, your report, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Public service announcement. The city clerk informs me that there is a red Toyota. It's a RAV4 with the interior lights on in the parking lot. Public service announcement. If your lights are on and you have a RAV4, your lights are on inside the vehicle. Sir.
Very good. Thank you. We have done a testing for silica at the crushing concrete site. So it's been taking us a while in order for us to do the testing while they're operating. So they did testing in 3 days in different locations. No significant finding of silica that we are aware of. However, there were some recommendations in the report that staff will follow up with the owner of the crushing concrete site regarding this recommendation. Also, I have a couple of recommendations myself that I would like to offer to them as well. I have met with the property owner who is to the north of the site. He shared some videos with the city engineer and I, and so I would like to use that as a mean when I meet with them to discuss these items with them. Also, staff has submitted 5 different applications to the Appropriation Committee with the state. Those items that we submitted that were not approved from previous grants, the submittals that we have. And those were the historic West Side Stormwater Master Plan, the Corbin Park Stormwater Master Plan, North Atlantic, the drainage project, the Barracuda Roadway, and also I have asked staff to submit for generators for Babe James, the City Gym, and Live Oak Center. And as you recall, during one of the hurricanes, we used one of the buildings for post-hurricane shelter, and we did not have a generator in those buildings. So this is an opportunity for us to gain some funding for that. Also, we had a public meeting here in this chamber regarding the Washington Street project. I think that's a project everybody's looking forward to. So I'm hoping that we will start construction mid-year of 2024. I want to give you an update on several projects that you guys are looking for. So the first one is the Women's Club. So the RFP is finally, it's in a final draft. We're just waiting for the 2 appraisals based on city policy. We received one, we're waiting for the other one. As soon as we receive the other one, we plug the number in and we put it out, and we put the number as a minimum based on some of the conditions that you guys have directed staff to.
It's been some time. When do you anticipate the second one?
Next week. The second update is on the parking task force. As I recalled at the last meeting, I updated you that I have met with the consultants twice. And I met with, also included the chairman of the parking task force. We have given him all the information. He wanted to come back and we'll present back to you a proposal on January the 9th. In the meantime, there's a couple of items that I would like to probably work on, see if we could implement them early on, such as organizing parking on some of the areas they have suggested for us, such as on Sapphire and Peninsula, and also some other areas maybe around 2nd Avenue. The third item is the city manager search firm. Just so you would know, we have 2 areas where we advertised. One is OpenGov, and we had 2,395 firms that were notified through OpenGov. We had 343 firms were notified through Demand Star, 282 people through OpenGov, they reviewed the item. 15, they were followers there. 18 of them have downloaded the documents from OpenGov and 11 from Demand Star. There is 8 of them open OpenGov that actually through the process application and 2 in the submission process. So we have reached out to quite a bit of firms out there. We even reached out to some of the firms through the International City Manager Association as well. Some of them, they're out of business. Some of them, they don't deal with small cities and so forth. 120 Flagler, also same thing. We have the RFP ready. We're just waiting for the 2 appraisals. As soon as we have them, I don't have any specific date when we will receive, but as soon as we receive them, we will be advertising that one. The good news on the Live Oak Cultural Center, everything is done. I'm hoping that we will reopen on Monday, this coming Monday. With that, Mayor, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there any follow-ups on the city manager's report by any commissioner? Commissioner Martin?
Just the 2 that we talked about yesterday. I'm looking forward to getting a link to the NSB Affordable Housing Inventory.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is also looking for a map for properties that could be impacted by the Live Local or Live Local Act.
Yep. And both of them staff, they're working on that one, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And your follow-up on the public participation?
Yes, I'm sorry. We had 11 public participants. None of the items needed any action. There is 2 items that have people made suggestions. So I will have staff investigate and will report back to you. There is one item that I guess somebody suggested that we add additional guidelines for construction crews. You work in a residential area. The other one, they have suggested a unified approach to development and its impacts on natural flow, stormwater, migration routes, water quality, storage capacity of wetlands, carbon observation, and indigenous animal populations. A lot of these items are already included in our land development code. Excuse me. So I will have the staff look at the other items to see if we could include them there. But other items, there were, for example, some of them, they spoke about the village square, which the commission will consider tonight. And other items, they were just thanking the city on the Veterans Day, and also they promoted themselves for the Economic Development Board.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll move along now to public participation. If there's any citizen who would like to address the commission, you'll be given an opportunity of 3 minutes to give your monologue, not a dialogue back and forth. We won't ask your questions. The city clerk and the city manager are taking notes, and we'll follow up as appropriate. If you have an accolade for any city member, we'd love to hear about those. And at this time, I'll open the floor. You'll see the green light come on when you approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes. At 1 minute to go, the yellow light will come on, and you'll be finished at the and when the red light comes on. And so this is your opportunity to let us hear what is on your mind. Please come forward if you have anything to add right now.
Just one note for the public.
Yes, ma'am.
Ordinance number 5623, which is the master development agreement for Village Square. That public hearing has closed, so we will not be taking any public participation at that time.
Okay, so that's a good one. We've recessed that, and we will continue that tonight, but the public participation section is closed. Can show of hands, are there people here for the ABC property that want to be heard? Just a show of hands? Okay, very good. Tonight, at this session would be your time. Yes, ma'am. Name and address for the record as you come forward, please.
Hi, good evening. I'm Peggy Haddle, and I live on Fairgreen Avenue. I was looking online and saw the map with the Sun Trail, and the Sun Trail has like the east and the west, and I would be, the west has me concerned. I'm assuming the Sun Trail is that the people will be on the road because there's not always a sidewalk there. And when you get onto like Turnbull Bay Road, there's an area where there's no shoulder at all. So that if somebody's going on there on their bike, plus everybody going 45 miles an hour plus, I think that would be a big safety concern. I also am concerned when they close Sunset Avenue for the expansion of the airport. How will that impact the trail? Also, like, you know, I live on Fairgreen, and on Fairgreen, you don't have a sidewalk, but you have the golf cart lanes, and those white lines are pretty much just a suggestion. And cars go really fast down Fairgreen. So that I'm concerned I'm concerned about the safety of people. If this became a trail, I'm very concerned about the safety of the people. Not just on Turnbull and not just on Fairgreen, but when you get onto Fairway, I mean, that's just a 2-lane, and one lane is always blocked. Plus, so because bikes have the right of way, a lot of people don't know that. So it's really, to me, a real big safety concern. And I wanted to bring my thoughts to you. So thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you for your comments, ma'am. We appreciate it. Evening, Pat.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Pasquale Brignola, 391 South Timberlane Drive. And again, concerning the Village Square PUD MDA, I'm still opposed to any and all restaurants as approved businesses in the absence of operating hours in this MDA. At the start of this process, the applicants asked for the moon. Now this MDA has massaged to look like they heard us at the meetings and heard our complaints and opposition, and now want to be understanding, concerned neighbors who have made huge sacrifices to gain favor with the commission in affected neighborhoods. Now, instead of deciding whether to keep or remove restaurants from the list of approved businesses and add back hours and days of operation, we're now negotiating what type of restaurant to approve and what hours of operation will be satisfactory. Today's MDA, the new MDA, quote, restaurants, type A and type D, all restaurants shall close no later than 10 p.m. Words have meaning. One, to me, all means more than one. Are the applicants planning for 2 restaurants, or are they just keeping their options open? The limit must be 1. 2, concerning the closing time. You can't have a closing time if you don't have an opening time. Stated opening and closing times must be mandatory for all approved businesses. The statement shall close no later than 10 p.m. is misleading. They could open at 10:01 p.m. and still be in compliance with the MDA. The size of a restaurant, which should be required to meet all parking requirements, dictates the seating capacity. A 3,500 square foot IHOP seats 138 people. A 2,700 square foot one, 88, and they have a generic template on the IHOP.com website that does not list any seating or size. My question there is, when will FDOT determine if the type of proposed business will affect traffic entering, exiting, or even on State Road 44? Any business in this PUD will generate tax revenue for the city. Therefore, there should be no chosen favorites. My other question is, how could this MDA be forwarded with staff recommendation to approve? I hope that the glaring errors and omissions in this MDA were accidental and not intentional. The original PUD MDA expired in 2019 and wasn't revived until March of 2021. There was no deadline for this MDA, and this should have been the most complete and error-free document ever written. Thank you for your understanding.
Thank you, Pat. Appreciate your time and your comments. Ms. Lester.
Hi, everybody. This is Celeste Lester. I live at 410 Koyasisi in New Smyrna Beach. So, guess what I am concerned about? I am concerned about the Sun Trail, the East Coast Greenway. I'm concerned for the airport. I'm concerned for the whole area itself. I know that you guys are going to vote on this tonight, and I'm hoping that you will wait a little bit longer. I know that they want to do this by 2030, which is 7 years, and I just think that y'all need to think about that a little bit more. You need to actually physically, you guys need to go out and walk that area. You can do, especially in the airport area. You know, let's say I'm riding my bicycle, okay, and I'm in front of the airport, and I'm just going to use this as an example. Okay, not mine, but let's just say it's mine. My aircraft is coming in to land. My landing gear doesn't come down. So guess what happens? You better have somebody, and I'm coming down from Turtle Bay, okay? So now I'm coming in, I'm trying to land, and all of a sudden my gear doesn't come down. And so what happens? Either you foam that runway or the airplane catches on fire, and stuff like that has happened. It has happened at other airports. So that's what I'm concerned about, because if people are riding bicycles in that area and something like that happens, we have people that probably could get hurt. And I just want you to think about that a little bit better. I mean, there is one in Edgewater, okay? There's a bike trail in Edgewater. It's not on the same side of the airport. It's across the street, and it goes down, and it goes into a beautiful area of the woods and stuff. If you could find a way that you could cut that airport section out and possibly make it go into like Doris Lever's Park, or in other words, kind of combine it with what we already have existing, okay? And not necessarily, I just hope that you will think about the aircraft, helicopters, the safety of people, because you never know. You really don't know. Something can happen just like that. And the pilot does as much as he can, but if everything freezes up, he has no choice. So please, please, I beg you to reconsider doing the Sun Trail East. Thank you for my time.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Mitch Cole, 585 South Timberlane Drive. And mostly what Pat said, I don't want to reiterate, but Colony Park Road's a private road. We worked hard on the PUD in the beginning because I've been there since 1985 when I built a new home. And just that's the reason we worked hard on that, is for the neighborhood and for our residential area from Wildwood all the way down there in those 3 streets. And we just like to consider, you know, keeping it that way. And how the access to the new restaurant would be behind ABC kind of defeats the purpose of our Colony Park Road into Timberlane. And we just like to consider some of those things besides the opening hours and the closing hours. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments.
I'd just like to say I think you guys are all doing a bang-up job, so thank you. I'm also here for the Village Square PUD. My name is Andrew Lyon. My wife and I own a home on Timber Lane Drive, and I appreciate the council giving me a few minutes to speak about the Village Square PUD. When I spoke before you a few weeks ago, I talked about the importance of good development being a balance between business interests and the residents' quality of life. How building an elevated property on State Road 44 may serve that property and or business well during rain or flood events, but can have significantly negative impacts on the thousands of residents that live behind it. I've been involved with construction and development my entire life and found the Hippocratic Oath is one that applies to development as well. First, do no harm. Traffic is already an issue leaving the PUD and Timber Lane Drive during peak travel times. Those pressures will only grow with certain increased demand on both State Road 44 and Colony Park Road from Pioneer Trail. There's a 0% chance that the Florida Department of Transportation will change the cadence or sequencing of that light, as their main concern is traffic flow on State Road 44. These pressures won't affect the owners of the ABC or the owners of the proposed restaurant. Maybe patrons of either will comment on how it takes an extra 5 to 10 minutes to get back on State Road 44, but the residents that live there and deal with the intersection as the only means of egress multiple times a day will bear the burden. I would ask that if your home was a block away from an intersection that may take 15 to 20 minutes to get through, if that is not worthy of additional planning and scrutiny. I'm not opposing development. I'm just asking that the zoning and type of business not have an overt negative impact on the residents that have lived there for 10, 20, 50 years. There are thousands of types of businesses with first shift hours and lower volumes that can coexist with reasonable impacts on residents. And I would ask that you consider these. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Hi, Cindy.
Good evening. Cindy Snezak, 512 Yupon. It's nice to see all of you. Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. Thank you for doing such a good job in the CRA meeting, asking the staff the very pointed questions that you did that I think will help them end up with a better product on the new or consolidated grant program. One thing, and it may have been that I just came in late from that, I'm not sure why the limit, why the minimum, I'm sorry, I think the dollar amount, it sort of seemed to in the draft to tend toward a large amount of money, and I'm not sure why you'd want to do that and not spread it around and have particularly not-for-profits go at it a bite at a time, do something good with it, come back, take another bite, do something good with it. So that would be great. But so that was item D. I'm glad to see that G and H were pulled because it makes it easier for me to ask a couple of questions for you to consider. In reading over all the attachments to the agenda, it struck me that on both the redevelopment grant and the way lien amnesty is considered, that it would really be beneficial if staff could do a process review of how they put together programs for you to review, and really emphasize property owner accountability. I don't know why they were pulled, doesn't matter why they were pulled, but you know, you kind of cut the legs out from under the city if when you do sewer work, sewer extensions or paving roads, and there's a deal between the property owner and the city that things will be repaid over time, and then they don't get repaid over time. It kind of makes the people who followed the program and made their payments feel a little bit like a schlump because they, you know, they had to pay their money back. Kind of applies a little bit to 7K, and I know you discussed the elevation of the homes, particularly one on my street. So I'd be interested in any conversation you might care to have on that with the unpermitted work that seemed to come to the reason for the overrun on the costs. So, and it doesn't really matter to me as a taxpayer that because some homes dropped out, there's money there to cover that. It's more a question about the accountability and who's paying for what for something that actually increases the property value substantially for the homeowner. So just some things I'd ask that you consider. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Dr. Herman.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission, and staff. I'd like to just make comment on 7I and 7P. I was pleased to hear the city manager talk about the continuing work with the parking task force. Again, having been on the original one, I know the challenges that we face. But I would like to comment on these two requests in that they do relate also to parking. Extending the memorandum for Ocean Breeze and granting the celebration at Flagler Tavern both involve increased number of people. Ocean Breeze has a parking lot on Buenos Aires that is never utilized. It lays dormant and not very well cared for. And as I understand it, it's the way he has his liquor license is about that parking lot. If he's going to extend, he's obviously extended the number of tables and of people that are coming, which is great. It's a good success story, but it will bring more traffic. And so I would hope if there's any extension, there would be some demand on him using that parking facility. And likewise with the event at Flagler Tavern, again, it'll be a great thing for the street, but he will be closing off his entire parking lot. And being a resident, you know, where the cars go, they come on our streets, and particularly at night, there's not as much surveillance of that parking issue. And there are lots available, as the parking task force showed. The lot behind Tatum's could perhaps be leased for special events. There's other areas that could be utilized. So I hope when you consider those things, you address the parking, because it does affect the balance in the residential and commercial. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Appreciate it. Hello, Jess.
Good evening. Jess Romero, 708 South Cooper. About almost 2 years ago, I started coming here, speaking to all of you, most of you. And one evening after a meeting, I met a commissioner outside in the parking lot, and I expressed to him the concerns that I had in regards to South Atlantic, the crosswalk on South Atlantic and Ocean Avenue. His comment was, hey, you know what? Call operations, they'll put some paint on that, good to go. I said, okay, but I thought to myself, we elect people up there to do these things for us? So I just waited. So after that, I kept coming here, and this weekend I went through the videos for the last 2 years. And my first time speaking here was May 10th of 2022. Since then, I've spoken up here 15 times, and I brought up a lot of issues. Now, the crosswalk to me on Atlantic and Ocean is important because I walk there often. On January 23rd, I spoke here publicly, and I brought up the issue of the crosswalk on Ocean and Atlantic. And I put a caveat, because I had heard through the dais here that there was going to be a resurfacing on the streets on the city. Remember saying, if you're going to do the surface on the city there, on the street, do not do the crosswalk now and come back 6 months later and repave it. Wait till it's done and do it then. That was in January of 22. On March of 12th of this year, of 23, I was walking down the crosswalk there to the beach, and an incident happened to me where a city employee rode, as we're in the middle of the crosswalk there, rode past us, blew us off. I was like, hey. So I went ahead and I wrote to the whole commission, mayor included, and I explained to them what happened. I got some responses back for two commissioners. I wouldn't name them. And one was, I wasn't surprised. The city needs a lot of paint around here. Fine. Another commissioner was very concerned. And on the last response to this here, apologized for what happened. And the last line reads, safety of you and your family and all of our citizens are and should be a priority. That was March of 2023. On the 19th of November, almost weeks ago there, my wife and I are walking back from the beach, and she enters the crosswalk. As she enters the crosswalk, there's a car that's going east on Ocean and has a signal to go north on Atlantic, making a left turn. As my wife is in the middle of the crosswalk, this driver decides to cut her off in the middle of the crosswalk and go in front of her instead of behind her. All right, she got missed. Now I come next. It's a car coming south on Atlantic. He's traveling at a high speed of rate, might be 40 miles an hour, maybe a little higher, I'm not sure. But he's pretty far. I'm thinking, well, I got time. So I start walking. I'm in the middle of the crosswalk, and he's right there upon me. And I'm like, hey, it's a crosswalk here. He's like this, waving at me. Zooms by. So I asked the commission for the last time, please do something about this here. Easy fix for me would be to get one of those it's the law stop sign so employees, residents, visitors, foreigners can see that you have to stop for a crosswalk. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody will be killed. To put that little piece of thing there, sign there, will probably cost about $4,000, may say. Now, $4,000 is cheaper than when somebody gets severely injured or killed, and we, the taxpayers, pay that bill for millions of dollars. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments.
Bill Weaver, 812 South Timberlane Drive. I want to talk about the Village Square, the ABC Liquor PUD. If I told you everything that I wanted to say about it, I'd kind of just be echoing what was previously said, so I won't go over that. I'll just say that I kind of agree with him. But one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and it is why I think it is a sticking point with a lot of people in the neighborhood. When that property was first developed by ABC, 15 years ago or whenever, when it was first purchased, things looked a lot different on the 44 corridor. They're not the same now. You have different restaurants that are being opened up and down as we work our way outside of the city. They all are set way back. You don't have that ability with those two parcels. Maybe when the people at ABC bought that and they thought to themselves, hey, this is kind of a bit of a gold mine for us. We have this property and eventually we'll have one on each side that we can develop. But times have changed and what their thoughts may have been at the time, I don't think are relevant anymore. I'm not against development. I've bought property my whole life, some commercial, some residential. My last project was 88 acres of farmland I turned into a 38-lot luxury home subdivision up north in New York, in upstate New York near the Canadian border. That was a whole change from what all the neighbors knew it as. But I was able to bring the project about and everybody was happy with what I was bringing to the table. I'd love something to be built on the end there. I don't have a problem with it as long as they do it the way it should be done. You know, you've got across the street, you've got Hague Insurance, you've got Verizon, you've got other things like that, Kilman Dental. They're all low traffic, kind of first shift type things. But to throw a restaurant in there, I mean, I don't know your ability or not. You may not be able to tell somebody, I'm sorry, you can't put a restaurant there. Maybe something that's got to go through when they actually put a building plan in front of you and whether it gets approved or not. You know, so I understand that you have certain constraints you have to work with too. Everybody's got a right to develop their property. But from my standpoint, I think anything in the line of a restaurant is going to be bad out there. Traffic is bad, and it's only going to get worse. So we have to kind of look at what we have, but also for the future. Traffic's not going to get any better, and those parcels are not going to get any further away from the road. There's just not enough room. And the other thing that I wanted, it's on another subject, Mr. Cleveland, I don't know if you recognize the name, I sent you the email. You got back to me right away. I was shocked, and the volume of information you gave me showed me you were looking into that. I appreciate it. And you were right. Doesn't exactly satisfy all my inquiry, but you did a pretty good job. It's a start. So thank you very much for that.
Sure. Thank you for your comments. Anyone else for public participation? Seeing none, public participation is now closed. We'll move on to item number 7, which is the consent agenda. Is there any member of the commission that wishes to pull an item? I'm ready. We'll start with the vice mayor.
D, 7F.
So D is in Delta?
Yes.
And which one?
7F.
F, Foxtrot. Okay, good enough. Commissioner Martin.
Let's see, we've removed G and H. As with Commissioner Bryan, I also have D and F. G and H has been removed. K, please, for comment. M.
Thank you. Would you like to make your comments? Anybody want to make a comment ahead of time? Go right ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead with M, or which one, it was K or M, which you want to make a comment on?
Okay, mine was, okay, let's, we gotta put those out. Okay, on, which one? Oh, K.
K.
I just wanted to verify my understanding is that 75% of the 98K will be reimbursed by FEMA.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And the 25% will be paid by the homeowner completely.
Very good.
So
All right,
there's
so we got-
no dollar sign for the city.
Good news. All right, so that's all for you?
Yeah, that was it
Okay.
on K.
Commissioner McGurk, any polls?
I think it's been pulled. 7F is already, I think, been pulled.
That's it.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, very good. Can I then have a motion, please, to adopt item 7A, B, C, E, I, J, L, O, and P?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
I'm sorry, are you including K in that because the comment was already made from Commissioner Martin?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Amend
I'll
my
improve-
motion to include K.
Improve K, thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
one. Good catch.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Perine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, consent agenda approved. Let's go after 7 Delta, the request to approve City of New Smyrna Beach CRA.
We voted that down at the CRA meeting, that's why I pulled that.
You bet. Perfect. Okay, so in light of the fact that our CRA meeting, we voted to approve that down, can I have a motion? It sounds redundant, but I think I need a motion to approve, and then we'll vote appropriately.
I'll make a motion to
Have a
approve.
motion to approve
Second.
7D and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
No.
Commissioner Hartman?
No.
Commissioner Martin?
No.
Vice Mayor Perine?
No.
Mayor Cleveland?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, how about 7 Foxtrot, 7F, the approval for the request for the Smyrna Yacht Club to help establish a no-wake zone along the Indian River. Whose is that?
I just have a comment on that. I pulled it. I will approve this as long as they know that and understand that this is going to require a change in our ordinance, and they're going to have to pay for that down the road, so that we're fair, because everybody pays for that. But other than that, I don't have a problem with helping, with our staff helping them, because it does improve, I think, the when it slows down, it just really helps the seawalls and the sea life, and I don't have a problem with that, and I don't have a problem with that. The staff, I just want to be fair with the ordinance.
Very good. City Manager, can you clarify that the expense for this, other than in-kind services, will be borne by the club?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Martin?
Yeah, well, city staff is a limited and exceptionally valuable financial resource. We don't have spare staff waiting for something to do. Any allocation to this project would delay progress on another project. So I wanted to be clear that use of staff time is a real financial impact and should be taken into consideration before any decision. I am very saddened that anything implies that our staff is anything less than the most valuable resource we have.
Thank you, ma'am, for the comment.
So I just want to bring up a point on this, is that it's required by statute that we are a participant in the application process and that we provide an ordinance. I don't want somebody else writing our ordinances for us. It needs to be staff time. But I also want to be very clear is that our staff time will assist. I don't want us doing the application process. I don't want us, doing everything, staff committing time to that. If there's an assistance that they need or a question or something like that, that certainly would be appropriate for staff time. But there are some things that staff will have to do because of the statutory requirement of this. This is one of those things that when the legislature passes laws or amends certain laws, they have unintended consequences, and we're kind of the brunt of that in that they pass something, and now we're going to have to take action by committing some staff time to this. So it's not something I think that we can really just say, no, we're not going to be a participant whatsoever. So that's all I have to say about that.
Good. City Manager, would you clarify on what you mean by in-kind services?
Mayor, when this item came about, I mean, staff time is valuable. Nobody has said that it's not valuable. But this is a service to a part of our community. And so our involvement would be very minimal. If it wasn't that the application has to be submitted by the city, we would not be involved. You know, if I determined that it wasn't, I guess, appropriate for us to be involved, I probably would recommend not to be involved. So minimal in-kind services from us, I think it's more than appropriate to serve our city.
Wonderful, thank you. Commissioner McGurk.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm looking at the design of this or the scale of it. My concern is this isn't going to make any sense from a boater's perspective. If you're coming from the north, headed south, just south of the South Bridge is where you get to increase your speed. Anything north of that point is all no wake or minimal wake. When I look at what is in the diagram here, the northern end of Yacht Club Island is where the proposed new pump out will be, and the no wake zone will extend 500 feet to the north. So what's going to happen is, if you're a boater coming from the south, you're going to get to the sign just past the South Bridge, and you're going to be able to go fast. And just about the time you get your boat on a plane, you're going to have to pull back and stop and go back to no wake for roughly 1,000 feet to where then you can go fast again. From a practical standpoint, that makes no sense. No one moving south is going to see that. They're going to understand. And if they do, every boater in Southeast Volusia is going to say, who in the world created this thing? They're not going to understand it. And most of the people are not going to obey it. So dare I say that just for a practical standpoint, you should probably extend this northern no wake to the current no wake and simply just close that gap. Otherwise, it just simply makes no sense. I mean, you probably have maybe 2,000 feet, somewhere around there of, if you don't close that roughly 2,000 feet, you're just going to have boaters blowing past this thing, which you're going to have anyway. It just doesn't make a lot of sense from a practical standpoint. So I would like the commission to consider that. I don't know if whoever came up with this proposal or the yacht club has taken a look at this. That's my thoughts.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I'll weigh in at the end here. Want to recognize our local commissioner from the FIND, the Florida Inland Navigation District Commissioner. Mr. Davenport is here. He's responsible for most of this effort up through the state for making sure that the needs of the boaters in the south of the South Causeway have a opportunity to boat in a safer environment. So hats off to Mr. Davenport for that effort. It is a little confusing. I go from St. Augustine up and down to O'Galley from time to time, and there are a variety of sections where you have to, you can speed up, and sure enough, you have to slow right back down. It is confusing as you go up and down. Absent any of that, there are many in the parade in the winter when the boats from Canada and New York come down with their captains. They often don't even pay attention to those signs. So this is our only hope to have a still water smoother water environment, not to mention the risk to the owners of yachts and boats that are moored up and down in front of the Smyrna Yacht Club. So I speak in favor of this. I'm comforted to know that the city manager will not allow a significant amount of time to be spent on this, and also to know that this is in the Smyrna Yacht Club's hands to do the funding for the engineering, for the installation, and all of the things that have to be markers along the way to make sure this happens. So it's not a done deal. They have to pick up the ball and run with it at that point. Those are my comments. Did I miss anything, City Manager?
No, just add the surveying to it. The only thing that I promised that we provide is the signs, since we have a sign shop that we could do that.
But that's not including the pole. We
No,
won't be
they have-
sinking any poles. We'll
They
just
have
be
to
doing the
provide
sign
the
on
pole.
top.
I'm just providing the actual sign.
Very good.
I have one
Ma'am,
more thing.
yes, ma'am.
Back on the ordinance, you guys were going to get the cost of that, and that, it's not that they would be writing it for a change based on the application. And can you elaborate on that?
I don't have the exact figure with me, but I know it's probably around 5,000. It's a rough estimate.
That was the piece that I was asking to be paid for, but we're going to write the ordinance, but they pay for it because they're requesting a change in ordinance.
Got it. Thank you. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
I need a motion.
You'd like a motion? Of course you would.
Mayor, before you do that, we will relay that to them tomorrow as far
Okay.
as the fees for the application. I think at the time we discussed with them, we discussed the engineering, surveying, and other issues, other professionals involved. I don't think I have mentioned the fees for the application specifically, but I will relay that to them tomorrow.
Yeah, 5,000 to 7,500, I believe, is the range. So it depends on how much notice is required. This is a bit different as it doesn't go into our LDRs, it goes into our code of ordinances. So that's the difference.
Very good.
So
Thank
I'd
you for
like
the
to make-
update. More-
I
Yes, ma'am.
just want to clarify that the motion will include the
Yes.
yacht club play, okay. we're
That's,
good.
I'd like to make a motion for 7F as long as they pay for the change in the ordinance, upcoming ordinance.
I have a motion to approve 7F as written with the change and amendment that the amendment is paid for outside of the city. We have a second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Breen?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Hartman?
No.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes. Motion carries. Very good. Okay. K is taken care of. I think we're on to 7, Mike, 7M. It's the consideration of a MOU between the city and Coastal Salt LLC. It's the Sidewalk Cafe at the foot of Canal. Who's that? Mr. Martin.
We have difficulty controlling sidewalk arrangements to comply with agreements. Flower pots, signs, and seats migrate onto the mandatory 5-foot sidewalk clearance requirement and force people, even wheelchairs, into the street. And I have a problem with public property being used for private profit. And I doubt that the public would be comfortable using this permanent furniture that would so clearly be associated with the restaurant.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. City Manager, any setup other than that? We have other MOUs with other, I know we have facilities that have sidewalk cafes up and down Canal and Flagler.
We do
Is
have
this similar
some.
is this similar to that?
I would like to have David Ray to just, since he's been dealing with this issue, to give us a quick report, and then I'll ask any questions.
Good evening. We do have the applicant here as well, that they can answer any questions. I understand, Commissioner Martin, where you're coming from. It's in the MOU, and it's been relayed to the property owner that those tables are going to be first come, first served. So if anyone walking down Canal sits there, it's their seat and it's their table. Can they use it? Yes, but it will be open to the public. It's not specifically for.
I understand. I doubt
Right.
that the public will understand and feel comfortable. And I don't want to disparage in any way the concept of this. I'm saying that we as a city have difficulty enforcing the encroachment.
Sure.
So it is not any one person. It is just about every agreement we have. Our code enforcement people spend an almost unreasonable amount of time saying, no, you can't put that chair or that sign or that flower pot in the middle of a sidewalk. So it is our inability to control, and therefore everybody else is doing it. Why shouldn't I also put my things in? So I think it's a great concept. Love it in concept. I just don't see it working well in practice.
Thank you, Director Ray, for your comments. Appreciate your report. City Manager, any more?
No, I'd be
Very
happy
good.
to answer any questions that you might have, but it's a, it's an idea that they have. I mean, if it doesn't work, I think we could come back and remove it, so.
I, for one, applaud the effort. I understand your concern. Mine is one of that end has been blighted a bit, needs something, and the innovations that these folks are putting in there to handle great landscape opportunity, outfitting it properly, irrigating it properly, and making what was not so nice, very, very nice, I think will be a big addition to our town, not to mention the 3 or 4 tenants that plan to go in there and provide some interesting and unusual services for the downtown area. So I speak in favor of it.
And on top of it, Mayor, he's been working with Canal Street merchants on this item for some time, so. But again, I mean, we'll try it. I mean, if it doesn't work, it's simple.
Very good. Is there a motion to approve item 7M, the approval of the MOU?
I'll make that motion.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Breen,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartman,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
No?
Mayor Cleveland.
Yes. Thank you. The motion carries. I think that's the last item we've pulled. Got that? Is that correct, Kelly? We got it? Okay, very good.
That is correct.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. On to administrative items, and item 8A is the consideration of the Sun Trail East Coast Greenway and the New Smyrna segment to tie in with the bigger segment. Assistant City Manager Nybert is here with a report.
Thank you, Mayor Commission. At the last commission meeting, you had a final presentation from the DOT regarding the proposed Sun Trail extensions of the New Smyrna leg of the River to Sea statewide trail system. Tonight is your opportunity to approve one of those, not for final construction, but to begin the evaluation and design process and to allow us to apply for a grant to be 100% funded by DOT to do the preliminary designs and then go through the evaluation process, which will include the aviation arm of DOT and the FAA to address any potential impacts raised by the Airport Advisory Board and the letter that you received in the last week. They will be consulted as part of the process to review and make impacts and comments regarding it. Some of the issues that were raised in the letter may be issues that could be an outcome of the FAA review. At the other end of the spectrum, the outcome of the FAA review may be we don't see a potential large impact of this, and therefore we have no concerns. DOT will, again, consult with both agencies to review, get their comments, and any potential impacts. You have the two options. One is the west option and one is the east option. As you recall, the recommendation of the consultant and the staff is to select the west option, the orange trail that you have on the map before you. I'll answer any questions you might have.
Thanks for the report there, Ron. Appreciate that. Maybe the elephant in the room is this is the Florida DOT, and part of T is air travel and air operations. Why was that not thought of before the process went all the way to this point? In other words, why didn't we get a green light from the feds at the FAA to say, hey, we're safe on either end, or we're only safe on one end ahead of time?
Because they can't do a final review until the final evaluations are done, the preliminary drawings are done. There'll be potential, quote, traffic counts as part of the consideration. So that work has to be done as part of the design and development of the project. At that point, the FAA and the DOT aviation arm of DOT will be consulted in a more formal basis. The DOT representative, Mr. Scholzel, has indicated they've already had preliminary conversations with the aviation arm of DOT, and at this point they've raised no concerns. Otherwise, they would not have proceeded to this step in the process at this point.
Questions from commissioners?
No, just a comment. I'm glad the FAA is going to review this. On the other hand, I can't for the life of me imagine the trails as a big sidewalk. So I'm not, I'd be very interested, I'd be humored to see the FAA's concern. We already have a street and a sidewalk. We've got multiple buildings, and we've had US 1 that has about a 30,000 road count on the other side of the airport with the same kind of landing impact zone across that US 1 crosses. So, I don't see a concern here. What concerned me more is I think that we had someone come up for public participation that said something about Sunset Drive being closed down for the airport. And I don't want that to go unmissed. There's no plan for that. It's not real, it's not happening. So I just wanted to reiterate for anybody who heard that, that is an internet rumor that loves to continue, that never dies and lives on forever. Thank you.
Comments from others, Vice Mayor?
It was my understanding that we have to approve this tonight because of the deadline to the funding, but can we do it with the contingency that the FAA, the airport approves all of these conditions that were mentioned in the email?
That will be later in the process after the design is complete, and then there'll be a future application for construction. At that point in time, the FAA will have already ruled on its determination and the impact. If there are overt concerns by FAA that would have negative impact on the operations, or if they flat out disallow it, certainly we would not proceed with the construction phase of the project. So we'll have 3 to 5 years from now, we'll have another crack at this to look at it. At that point in time, we'll have the benefit of the aviation arm of DOT and the FAA's input on any potential impacts.
But they're funding this at 100%. I'm concerned that we have to pay for some of this up front.
No, this will be entirely funded by DOT.
Funded by the DOT, so I appreciate that, knowing that this is effectively a placeholder for either the east path or the west path for the funding stream that comes from the state. And there are many more dance steps before approval. So Ron, let's say we vote on saying we like the staff's recommendation, and those in the crowd, we vote on the west path, and they say, and the feds say, no, west path not looking so good for safety. We want, but the east path looks all right. We have the option at that point to change our mind.
Yes, frankly, at this point, the grant will be, the orange option offers us the best opportunity because it's the longest segment of the project. So the state's going to authorize the funding for that complete. At some point, if we receive input from FAA or DOT that they have concerns with that, and we have to switch to the east route, it's just a matter of restructuring the funding. If we were to select the shorter route, which is less money, it's much more difficult to go back, and in this case, in fact, almost impossible to ask DOT for more money. So I think our options are best suited to ask for the larger segment, given the input that we've had from the public and other concerns. And if those issues are raised and we have to switch to the east route, the money's still in place. It's just an administrative change to the scope rather than asking for more funding.
Great, really good. Any other concerns or issues? Sir, you want to finish this up?
No, I just want to, as I mentioned during the briefings, that what you're approving tonight is the routes with the condition that a study will be done, because we want to make sure that we are not violating our grant assurances at our airport. And that's an important item for us. So if, for example, like what you mentioned, that it came out to be, well, the east side is no good, we have to go to the west side, well, that still has to be, they're going to be looking at both options in terms of the FAA. So my recommendation to the commission, if you are going to approve it, just to move forward on the project, I think we will have it with the condition that the study needs to be done to determine whether there's any impact to the airport or not.
Sounds good. Any discussion between the commission on east versus west? Anybody got any ideas on that? Commissioner Martin?
I do. I have very strong feelings that the east route would provide more benefit to more people. People can use it. It makes it easier for some people to actually commute to their jobs, particularly in the Canal Street area. It is great for there's kids that can walk to school more safely. So, and I believe we just agreed to put a sidewalk in, what is it, on Ronick? For kids to go to school because it's so heavily traveled. This would connect with that Ronick connection and increase safe pathways for the schools. Now, I know, you know, different people have different takes on it, but still from 44 over, I believe that more people would benefit, and a lot of those would be the children. So clearly, I feel passionately about the east option.
I got it. What do you think about the traffic flow? Isn't there a change in direction? We got to do one-way flow or something on that?
We do, but I happen to think that the safety of our kids is worth it.
Anybody else with a comment or a declaration of which path you favor? Or we'll need a motion at some point to approve either the east or the west path.
Motion to approve the west path.
I have a motion for the west path.
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? Commissioner Martin, you want to give it one more try for the kids on the east side?
Well, we know how I feel about it, and I wish people would think in terms of, it's not just the kids, but, you know, we spend a lot of time talking about traffic and parking, and this is another way to chip away at some of those issues. If it's easy to bike to work, that's less traffic and less parking that we need to deal with. Does it take care of 100,000 cars? No. Does it take care of hundreds? Yes. In this, you know, over a period of time, obviously. So I just believe that there are a number of benefits to the East Coast that help us with our parking, with our traffic, and safety of our children.
Commissioner McGurk.
So while I don't disagree with that, the fundamental problem with the east path is the making Ronick and Pecan, or Dus and Pecan, in particular, my concern, Pecan one way. So you have Chisholm Elementary School, a disaster for the flow and traffic of the school, and that's why I don't support the east path. If FAA has a problem or we have to divert to the east path, we would need to get the school involved to figure out what kind of that turns into a much bigger problem. You also have the train that stops across that whole area. So it's already a big problem getting the kids to school. And if we did that, you're gonna have a chamber filled with parents if we make Pecan one way. So I would caution against that without having some significant public meetings on that. But if we need, if we need to do it, we need to do it.
And I hear you. Just remember that if parents feel safer about their kids biking or walking to school, there wouldn't be as many cars in that chain.
No, there's tons of the district is wide. As a matter of fact,
I never claimed 100%. I'm talking about.
It wouldn't even be. It wouldn't be. I don't think it would. For many cars that come into the area, for people who live close enough to walk, it wouldn't even be measurable. I don't believe. believe. So I'm confident.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the western alternative, the West Central Western alternative. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
No.
Vice Mayor Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so that carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Niebert, for your report. Motion has been approved. On to ordinances, reading, hearing, the ordinance 5623 for the second time by title only, please.
Ordinance number 5623, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach, Florida, rezoning 6 plus or minus acres of land generally located along State Road 44, south of its intersection with Colony Park Road, approving the Village Square Planned Unit Development Master Development Agreement, authorizing the mayor to execute the Village Square Planned Unit Development Master Development Agreement, providing for a public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Just to recap procedurally where we are, we heard this item on first reading September 12th. We had the public hearing on September 26, 2023. The public hearing closed and it was time for deliberations. The applicant was granted a continuance and they had the opportunity to address some of the comments that were heard on September 26. And they also had a meeting with the neighborhood to hear from the neighbors more. They have submitted a revised MDA that Mr. Gove is going to summarize for you. The part I will caution you all is it's a quasi-judicial public hearing, which means you all sit as the judge. The evidence was presented on September 26th, and you're going to hear the proposal they'll be voting on. The applicant is not submitting any more competent substantial evidence. They're here for questions, and the commission is not permitted to take into account any public comment that was made tonight. However, I do believe Mr. Gove will address some of those things because the revisions that were made address some of those comments. So you have to base your decision on competent substantial evidence that you heard on September 26, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you for that briefing, ma'am. A quasi-judicial public hearing will now be conducted to consider the adoption of ordinance number 5623, which, if adopted, would allow the approval of a new PUD master development agreement for the previously approved, now expired Village Square PUD MDA, which would allow development within the remaining 2 undeveloped parcels of approximately 6.4 acres total PUD property area located along State Road 44, south of the intersection with Colony Park Road.
And just one clarification, the public hearing did close despite the introduction. So if we just pick up where we left off, and Mr. Gove will tell you the updates.
Perfect. So we'll just open the quasi-judicial hearing, and we'll first hear...
No, the public hearing's closed.
Quasi-judicial hearing.
That's closed. So that part's closed, and Mr. Gove's just going to update you. We pick up where we left off. We were about to go to commission comments. Mr. Gove's going to tell you the concessions that have been made to that agreement.
Okay. I didn't realize that opening the quasi-judicial hearing meant opening public comments.
It's a hearing, so they're not going to introduce anything more.
Got
The
it.
public's not going to introduce anything more.
Okay, so we're going to still hear it. We're going to listen.
Yes.
Okay, very good. First hear from the city planner, Mr. Gove. Jeff, do you have a report?
Yes, thank you. I'll just give you a synopsis of our update memo that we added to the agenda dated October 14th, which explained pretty much what the city attorney said in terms of schedule. As far as the revisions to the proposed ordinance and the PUD, since the commission last discussed this, September 26th, those are all existing and future buildings are now limited to 1 story only. The previously included medical office permitted use now includes 24-hour urgent care. Restaurant uses will be type A and D only. That's no service to any vehicles, no drive-through. And specifically, no drive-through restaurant service will be allowed. Any restaurant uses that may come up must close no later than 10 p.m. No fluorescent lighting is permitted to be used on the rear or south portions of the currently undeveloped lots 1 and 3, with wall-mounted non-fluorescent lighting permitted for security purposes. They've added text to the Section 7 to provide for cross-parking between all 3 of the lots. Also, text has been added to MDA Section 9 regarding natural vegetation preservation to supplement and enhance tree preservation methods that were previously listed. And finally, the conceptual development plan has also been revised in accordance with those restrictions. The prior version of that CDP had a drive-through shown on Lot 1 with 3 lanes, and that representation has now been removed. It's still a conceptual plan, but there's no firm plans for a drive-through. These revisions are acceptable to the Planning Department, and our original recommendation of approval remains. With that, the applicant's representatives are here to address any questions you may have of them.
And Jeff, wasn't there a stipulation to add the opening hour?
They have indicated that, but that's not in the current document.
Correct, but with that agreement, we need to present that they have stipulated to inserting the opening hours for any restaurant.
Right. The question has come up that it now only includes a closing time at 10 p.m. They're agreeable to a 6 a.m. opening time and could include that in the documents.
Thank you for that clarity. That helps. Any members of the commission have any questions for Mr. Gove? Mr. Harton?
So Jeff, at some point in time, they'll submit a site plan, and there'll be a site plan review done with the specifics on that site plan. Is that not correct?
Right. There'll be site plans required for both of the vacant lots.
And at that point in time, we'll look at the square footage, the FAR, whether they have adequate parking and how that parking is going to work out.
Right.
And if there's a need for a traffic analysis, it will be done at that time, correct?
Correct.
But that's sometime in the future.
Yep.
Okay. If my memory serves me right, which I don't count on a lot these days, but we also stipulated that there was a 5-year time limit on this. Is that still within the document?
Right. That's still in the document. They had revised that at the first reading upon your request.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Not at this time.
Commissioner Martin?
I would like to thank the Bales family for their attention to the concerns of the neighborhood. As we know, the future land use element of the comprehensive plan specifically states that the adjacent residential neighborhoods must be protected. The element further states the area should foster high-quality business activities. The ABC Fine Wine and Liquors Spirits Store exemplifies the implementation of that element. Property rights and property values are relative. What is done on one lot impacts the surrounding area. The type of business on the other side of a residential fence impacts the home's property rights and values. The existing store demonstrates that equilibrium can exist and uphold the rights and values on both sides of that property line. Using the criteria of what is desirable on the commercial side of a residential fence, please add smoke shops, restaurants, and 24-hour commercial activities to the exclusion list. Establish maximum operating hours. And please amend the drive-through facilities note to read one single lane drive-through facility. These amendments would protect the adjacent residential neighborhoods while supporting commerce on the State Road 44 corridor. And this would continue that vital equilibrium for property rights and values on both sides of a property line.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Vice Mayor.
I don't have any.
Okay, very good. I don't have any questions. I appreciate the detail with which you went through, and I appreciate the applicant's public meeting with the residents. I attended that, and you had a listening ear. I appreciate the residents showing up and voicing their opinions and the reasonableness that has been established on both sides. I think with the establishment of an opening time that we can agree on, and a closing time that we can agree on, and that this is change that we're going to keep seeing on 44, that this issue will come up again and again with regard to traffic safety, with regard to density, with regard to disturbing residents' homes, and we'll have to deal with that every single time. So, Jeff, I appreciate what you're doing to kind of hold a line and keep a standard, an ever-sliding scale, because it's a popular place out there, and people that own property have rights for what they can do in their property as long as it doesn't impinge on others. And this is what is debatable, how much it impinges on others. I don't think the applicant has yes, ma'am.
If you have questions for them, you can call them up. However, one clarification, the MDA in section 6, it says drive-through facilities are limited to one drive-through facility for the property. And when they define property, that means all 3 lots. So it is one drive-through.
What the difference is that in the previous...
Commissioner Martin.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
In the previous, there was one drive-through that had 3 lanes. So just the clarification to one single lane drive-through facility. I'm just referring back to the...
Okay, I misunderstood your comment. Thank you.
Right. So just one single lane drive-through.
So we have a proposal. Mr. Gove has detailed it. Thank you for the report. Any other comments or questions from any commissioner? Commissioner McGregor.
Thank you. Need some clarification. I heard something, did you say something about a 24-hour urgent care?
Yes, that's been added to medical offices, including 24-hour urgent care facilities.
Okay, so Commissioner Martin said, I need some clarity on what we're talking about here. I hear no drive-through. Then I hear language about...
No restaurants with drive-throughs.
Okay, so, okay, now, Jeff, you may not be able to answer this, but I'm trying to get some clarity. There's been a lot on this issue. Are the residents okay with the drive-through that is not attached to a restaurant?
I can't answer that. Maybe the applicants can, because I didn't really talk to the
Let me see if I could do this without creating, is there, I'm not sure how to.
You want to ask the applicant
Yeah, well,
what the feedback was?
Well, no, the applicant, not necessarily. I'd like to know where the residents stand with that. Attorney, I'm not legally able to bring in the
Where
public.
they stand is not competent substantial evidence. Your
Gotcha.
decision cannot be based on that.
Right, okay, gotcha. I'm about to go down a rabbit hole we can't.
I understand.
So, anyway, okay, so, and, got it. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Hartman.
So just some added clarifications. 24-hour emergency care centers will be allowed?
Yes.
Okay.
And just to be clear, there's no drive-through with the restaurants. What can possibly have a drive-through, and again, as the city attorney said, it's only one for the total property, would be a pharmacy, laundry services, or financial services. Could all have a drive-through, but just one for the entire property.
Mr. Martin?
Okay, how do we talked about clarifying the MDA with the 6 a.m. opening.
So the motion should include with the added language regarding the 6 a.m. opening for restaurants.
For restaurants only, so you're saying, okay, could that be modified? In other words, other 24/7 businesses, we don't want, the only 24 hours should be medical, in other words, with all other businesses being a maximum of 6 a.m. to 10 p.m.
If the applicant would like to stipulate to that, that would be one thing. However, you have a proposal in front of you, and unless I see them running up.
Okay, so the ask is not only restaurants, but any drive-through operation would be.
Well, it's not just drive-through. I mean, there's Wawa and gas stations. There's a lot of high-intensity businesses that do have a 24/7 operation. So while the medical or the urgent care or the pharmacy would not be a high intensity.
I'm with you now. Your request is for any operation to be from 6 to 10 p.m.
With the exception of
With the exception of medical.
Yeah, that's why I said no 24/7 commercial.
Would the applicant like to stipulate? Yes, sir.
I like the catching of the gas station.
So,
Yes, sir.
We do have a court reporter here, and all comments need to be made into the mic.
Got it.
so another question for Jeff. We stipulated that there'd be no exterior lighting on the other two parcels, or just the one?
It's stipulated for the two vacant parcels, 1 and 3.
So there'll be no exterior lighting other than what's on the building itself?
It's the
Can you read
type
it?
of lighting for the south wall of the buildings.
Yes.
No fluorescent lighting on that side, south side, for any future buildings on the 2 vacant lots.
And the south side faces the residence. And that's
residential, yeah.
that's the intent here. Just similar to the ABC Spirit Store now, which has nothing on it as well.
Right. And just as another point, convenience stores are not among the permitted uses, so Wawa.
Gas stations and convenience stores
Are
can't
not.
be there anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, clarify for me where it said that, because I tried to find that, but I personally was unsuccessful.
It doesn't say it because it's not proposed.
So they give you a
typically,
list
unless
of.
it's
They give you the list
specifically
of what is
mentioned.
permitted, and everything else that's not listed is prohibited.
Right.
Thank you, appreciate that.
That makes sense.
Okay, the applicant will approach Jeff, step aside and let him talk.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Eric Lee, Commission. How are y'all?
Yeah, Kurt Arden with the Fishback Dominic Law Firm, 1947 Lee Road, Winter Park, Florida, 32789.
John Kelly, KPM Franklin, 3200 Hazeltine National Drive, Orlando, Florida.
And Sean Kelly.
Sean Kelly from ABC Fine Wine and Spirits.
Anyway, so we're not completely clear on the request, but if it is that you would like all businesses to close no later than 10 p.m. and open no earlier than 6 a.m., except for the urgent care. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, we're good. We're agreeable to that. We will, yes, sir.
Awesome,
Yes, sir.
thank you very much. Appreciate that, appreciate your
Thank you.
cooperation.
Any other questions? We're here for you all. We also have our traffic engineer if you have any questions.
Perfect. Any questions for any of the team from the ABC group? Thank you, gents, appreciate that. You now have a question for the ABC group? Okay, one minute,
Depends on the
please.
question, because one of the main concerns is the detritus, if you will, of restaurants. And affecting, if you're in your backyard, what happens in the back of a restaurant, there is trash and there's this and there's that. There is associated detritus. with a restaurant. And the residents are very concerned about that and what it would do to the enjoyment of their personal property. Can we give them any reassurance of changes that could be made, implemented, protections in place to assure that these residents do not have their property values and their property rights impacted?
So those would be site plan issues, the official layout. So that would come at a different time, as Commissioner Hartman was speaking to earlier.
Those are site plan specific items, is that right? Does everyone understand? Okay. Thank you, gents. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 5623 with the stipulations of operations for any of the approved on the list occurring from 10 a.m., I'm sorry, from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., closing at 10 p.m.? Is there a motion?
With the exception of medical, which can be
Except
open
for
for
medical,
24
which can
hours.
run 24 hours. Thank you.
And did we get that?
Is there a motion? I'll just remind the commission, we cannot leave these folks with no answer, with nothing. We have to vote. Even if we start the motion and vote it down, we have to proceed.
Make a motion to approve the PUD with the items that have been stipulated in the hearing and then also tonight at this presentation.
Thank you, Commissioners. A second? Second. And now, I think if you wanted some more discussion on that, we could go there.
I was trying to clarify if the motion would include the slight amendment to it being a single one-lane drive-through.
I think that's in there.
No, that's not in my motion.
It's already in there. I heard Jeff say it, and the applicant saying, if not, it's on the record now that it is included in the motion.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Confirming the seconder. I didn't catch that. Thank you. All right, Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Commissioner Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
No.
Vice Mayor Perine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, team. Motion carries. Okay, so ordinance number 5623 has been approved. And now we'll move on to first readings. Madam City Attorney, if your voice holds out, would you please read each ordinance for the first time only by title? Second reading and public hearings will be conducted on the 12th of December 2023 at the regular City Commission meeting.
Ordinance number 8323, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach authorizing the Utilities Commission, City of New Smyrna Beach, to enter into a contract with Census USA, Inc. for the Advanced Metering Infrastructure, AMI, Smart Grid System for a term exceeding 4 years, providing for a public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be December 12th, 2023. Mayor, did you want me to zip through them? Are you okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, please.
Ordinance number 7923, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach granting a non-exclusive franchise to Waste Management, Inc. of Florida to provide construction and demolition debris removal services within the City of New Smyrna Beach, outlining franchisees' duties, providing terms and conditions under which such franchise shall operate, providing for severability, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be December 12th, 2023. Ordinance number 8023, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach annexing 1 ± acres of property located on the west side of Luella Street, north of Pioneer Trail, addressed as 664 Luella Street, providing for redefining boundaries of the city, designating the property within Commission Zone 3, providing for public hearing, providing for required filings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be December 12th, 2023. Ordinance number 8123, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the comprehensive plan changing the future land use designation of 1 ± acres of land located on the west side of Luella Street, north of Pioneer Trail, addressed as 664 Luella Street, from Volusia County rural to city rural, providing for amendment of the associated comprehensive plan maps to show the area incorporated into the city, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing, December 12th, 2023. Ordinance number 8223, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach rezoning 1 ± acres of property located on the west side of Luella Street, north of Pioneer Trail, addressed as 664 Luella Street, from Volusia County A3A Transitional Agriculture Airport Overlay to City A3A Transitional Agriculture Airport Overlay Zoning District, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be December 12th, 2023.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. So we know that this is the first reading, and we'll pick this up at the second. Now on to item 11, boards and commissions. The Youth Council Task Force, consideration of the appointment of 6, reappointment of 1 new Smyrna Beach High School students to serve as members on the Youth Council Task Force for academic year 2023-24. Madam City Clerk, have you got a report?
Yes. Good evening. I have worked with the New Smyrna Beach High School liaison, Paul Woodard. He submitted nominations for the 7 members for the Youth Council Task Force, and I'm bringing this item to the City Commission tonight to approve his nomination consideration. And so that's what we're looking for.
Any questions or comments for the city clerk? I have one that I think, as I look through these, there are six places and 6 people have been nominated by the teacher.
There are 6 new students, 1 returning student, 7 total. The resolution was amended last year to add 2 new members.
Perfect. This goes to process. It's my view that the students have been nominated by their teacher and maybe have shown them some, maybe he had them write a paragraph or apply, or maybe he selected them. Do we have any insight of whether they've applied and said why they want to be on this sort of a commission or panel? My idea was that they're getting ready to go to college. They're going to start an application process. They've done no application here. It would be a great training exercise for them to apply for something and then even write to say why they wanted to do it. Or has that already been done behind the curtain and we don't know about it? Professor Murphy or whatever, has he already done that type stuff?
No, we haven't required that in the past from the students. He broadcast that in his AP honors classes for criminal justice as well as government. The interested students let him know. They also can achieve points for serving on a board. So once he gathers those names, he goes through and reviews the criteria. We've never run into a situation yet where there have been too many. It's always been in the past that he needs help getting the volunteers from the students, just because they're mostly juniors and seniors with very busy schedules. So
I get it. Thank you for that. I was just seeing an opportunity for them to learn how to do application work because they're going to get ready to do applications for college. And if they want to get involved, they will never be asked and hand-fed this opportunity again as soon as they start college. Wouldn't it be a great opportunity for them to learn how to do the application process and to write a paragraph? It'd be good for us to hear about what they, why they want to be a part of it. And maybe they don't know, but they just need the points, so they're getting the points. Does that make sense? I'm trying to make this into an opportunity for them to espouse why they want to do it, rather than just be appointed by their teacher.
we have a review of the boards coming up from our workshop last week, so if I could suggest when we take that board to review it, and it's approved by majority commission, we can go ahead and amend the resolution.
How we do it? Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, is there a motion then to approve this slate of people?
So moved.
Got a motion?
I'll take a second.
And a second?
Lisa can have the motion.
Perfect. Madam City Clerk, please
Vice-
call the roll.
Vice Mayor Preen,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk,
Yes.
Commissioner Hartman,
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland.
Yes, thank you very much.
I did have one more item that's not on the
Sure, of course.
agenda. So we did have the board workshop last week. Within that discussion, I know that there was talk about having those future special meetings to organize what was discussed. In the interim, I have 2 members that are currently serving on the Historic Preservation Commission that during the April 25th meeting last year, they were up for appointment consideration. Those members are the current chair, Joanna Mahood, and member Terry Bledsoe. Today marks 6 months and 1 week since their appointments have been extended until we can have a public discussion regarding those member qualifications. Since it's been that long, I didn't know if you wanted me to bring the item back on the next agenda to officially request extending them, or know that in May 2024, we actually have 4 members from that board that are up for reappointment consideration, which is in another 6 months. So my recommendation would be either to put it on the next agenda so we can officially allow them to serve this term since they're already 6 months into it, or we can make a motion today. I just want something official since they've already been extended for 6 months.
I think
But it's
the
your
vice-
pleasure.
Yeah, that's good information. I think the vice mayor originally had said something about, hey, those of us newbies didn't appoint them. We don't have the application in front of us. If that's available and possible, that'd be good for us to see. Then we can say, oh yeah, they seem like great candidates. The benefit that Commissioner McGurk and Commissioner Martin, Mr. Hartman have is that they got to see the applications previously, so they know them. We do not.
That's fine. With consensus, I'll bring it back on the next agenda for those 2.
We also talked to Joanne at the end of the meeting, and she said that she was not appointed by the Historic Museum, and that wasn't anything they do. Because, yeah, so there's some clarification. I mean, I don't have a problem with that at all, but I know Commissioner Hartman said that was one of the criteria, but she said she wasn't appointed that way, and that wasn't what they do, so.
That's an internal thing. I coordinate with the Museum of Natural, the museum down the street, and they give me Greg Holbrook and Mark Urkowski. That group will meet, they'll take the applicant names, and then they'll let me know that they approve. And so I'll put that on the staff report.
Thank you, because I know there are things like that, but I don't have a problem with reappointing those. I would love to see a resume and an application and just hear if they've been meeting their objectives, but that's not going to happen this fast, so.
Sure.
So without objection, you'll just bring that, the application process and have us at least get to look at it, and then we could vote.
That works for me. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, let's move on to the mayor and commission reports. We'll start with the vice mayor. Your report, ma'am.
Yes, so tomorrow and the 30th, we are going to the Florida League of Cities Legislation Conference. I'm going to attend the Land Use and Economic Development, and then on tomorrow, we also have the mayor and vice mayor conference committee. So I did sign up for that for the first time, my very first vice mayor meeting. And I'm looking forward to the legislation and all the seminars they have to offer. So we will be in Orlando for 2 days. The other thing is the First Step board meeting is going to be Monday night, December 4th. Actually, it's at 4:30 p.m., not at night. It's open to the public if anybody wants to learn more about the First Step shelter. But I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at the parade on Saturday. And thank you, Walmart, for the candy donated.
Awesome. Commissioner Martin. your
Yeah,
report.
well, my thoughts are, that it's Giving Tuesday in the holiday season, and I'm going to put a call out to whoever's listening at this point to please consider giving directly to your local organizations. It's a good way to know that they are legitimate and you can see your contributions at work. And also a reminder that people aren't just hungry on Thanksgiving and Christmas. The chances are that the family that's hungry at Christmas is also hungry in June. And I'll be going also to the legislative conference.
Good, thank you, ma'am. Commissioner McGurk.
Just want to say I'll see you all Saturday. We hopefully will have nice weather. Won't be too cold or too rainy. And as you all know, bring lots of candy. See you then.
Commissioner Hartman.
So I had the opportunity the other day to drive down Canal Street, and boy, is it beautiful with it being lit up like that. So compliments to all the staff. I know they even started earlier this year. They worked long, hard hours to get all those lights up and going. And then even walking into this building today, all the decorating that they've done in the front of the building and in front of City Hall, certainly want to commend them for all that hard work and do appreciate all the work that they do because it really puts you into the holiday spirit when you see something like that. So thank you all for all that they did. We'll see you on Saturday.
Awesome, thank you, sir. Lots of conversation about the upcoming holidays. I will tell you that there are, Walmart gets a bad rap on a lot of things, but to provide candy for the parade, it's a good start, Walmart, but this is one bag, and the 4 of the 5 are closed. Commissioner McGurk has already opened his, and he's already munching on his, so I don't know how much candy throwing is going to happen there. So, yes, I look forward to seeing him and Jess on the parade route for sure, and I'm ratting him out right now. City Hall decorations are phenomenal. David's team does an amazing job, and Canal and Flagler are going to be, extra special this year. To thank the Vice Mayor for leading the Spark the Spirit on the day after Thanksgiving, lighting the town tree. I hear accolades about your remarks, and what a great job you did representing all of us while you were there. Thank you very much, ma'am, for doing that. Had the pleasure of being at a police promotion ceremony a few weeks ago since we last met, and I will tell you that the envy of the county and soon to be the envy of the state is the New Smyrna Beach Police Department. The crowd that showed up, the families that showed up, the other agencies that showed up, and the spirit of those that are eligible for retirement and had turned off the possibility of serving in a leadership role as an officer of our police department, as a leader of the command staff in our police department, has totally turned around, and those folks have signed up in large number and were appropriately promoted. Not to mention other agencies who have changed and decided they wanted to join our ranks. So our officer ranks are full again. Had the pleasure of being with the sheriff at the Volusia County Basket Brigade the Monday before Thanksgiving. Is that right? Maybe this Saturday. I can't remember. Anyway, so this organization started 20 years ago with a lady named Amy Hall who gave out and arranged to give away 200 baskets of Thanksgiving food 22 years ago. The Basket Brigade of Volusia County now gives 5,000 baskets away to needy families in our county. 750 of them come to New Smyrna families. And it's all donations and people of big hearts giving of their time and their effort. There's a group that's packed the bags, there's a group that donates the materials, and then there's another group that can go out and deliver. I had the pleasure of being a part of the delivery team and talk about an eye-watering moment where you understand what it feels like to give, better blessed to give than to receive. The people that were receiving were crying, we that were giving away were crying, and I can't wait to do it again. So Basket Brigade of Volusia County, something that if you want to participate, I know that would be appreciated. Commissioner Martin's remarks about, hey, hunger lasts all year long is appropriate. I know that from the agencies I talk to, this is not the time of year that they need more and more and more. They need it spread out throughout the year, so I appreciate that. City Manager, I appreciate your diligence to work through this agenda. I think we have now perfected, or at least refined, the number of items that we can get through in an evening. I've lost the bet for tonight. I predicted it would be a 10:30 night. It's much earlier than that, so I owe you a Coca-Cola, sir. With that, any other follow-ups before we move on? City Clerk, any more in your report, ma'am?
No further report, thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam City Attorney, if your voice can.
Just one quick one. In the Dale Armstrong versus City of New Smyrna Beach case, the plaintiff had filed a motion for summary judgment regarding the riparian rights along Riverside Drive. The court issued an order that recognizes the city's position and that the case law supports the city's position that the riparian rights attach to that public right-of-way when the land is bounded by a navigable water body. I can get into more details later, but that's an overview of the announcement.
Effectively upheld that the city has the rights to those and can adjudicate and grant dock approvals and what have you.
Yes, so the dock easement agreement is needed.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. Mr. City Manager, all yours, sir.
One last comment, Mayor. When we were in school, if you get 93.75, that sounds pretty good. And if you get 30.76, that's no good. However, in a city commission meeting, when we get 93.75, which means we pulled that much items out of the consent agenda. So tonight, I would like to announce that we are at 30.76. So, thank you very much for all of you. We had a very pleasant briefing, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. Without any other delays, we are adjourned.